Hello and welcome back to another end-up weather video. Today we are going to be talking about Winter Storm Orlena. This snowstorm will pack a punch from coast to coast, and it will take so long to go from coast to coast that this coverage will be broken up into two separate sections. This edition is for the western part of the storm system, the part of the storm that will be dumping up to 7 to 8 inches of rainfall in California, up to 200 inches possible in some spots in the Sierra Nevadas of California. This storm will pack a punch, and this part of the storm that we're going to talk about today really hasn't been covered much, especially in this article that we have here. The only detail I want you to take from this article today is that this system has been named. So they focus mostly on the eastern part of the storm system. The problem is that we don't have enough information from the models to depict an accurate representation of what is going to happen with the eastern part of the system. But we can accurately predict, at least more accurately predict, the western part of the system. So let's jump right on into some alerts. So you can see here, most of California, the upper elevations, is in a winter storm warning. There's also a few blizzard warnings in California. You also have some winter storm warnings in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Idaho as part of this system. Plenty of winter weather advisories to go around as well. Now, we also have high wind warnings. This storm will pack a punch with some wind. There's also some flood advisories. This storm will pack a punch with rain too. So let's move on to the NAM and discuss all these topics. So let's start first here with the radar, the simulated radar. So let's go right in here, and we can see that this storm is already moving onto the coast. And we already have some heavy snow in California, heavy snow in Oregon. Now, once you get north of California, this is where the storm will get a little bit weaker. The low pressure is not as close to there. The California side of the storm will be much more powerful, but we'll still get significant snow amounts in areas of Washington and Oregon, and those snow amounts could get close to some major population centers such as Portland and Seattle, but just not as heavy as in parts of California. So here's what I want you guys to take away from this part of the storm system. Let's watch right here. You can see that this area, the atmospheric river, this low pressure is pulling moisture from the tropics, or the tropical areas of the ocean, and it's just directly into one area. That's what the atmospheric river is. Just like a river will flow in just one area, this is basically up in higher elevations of the atmosphere. There is dry air on one side and another side, and this is just an area of heavy moisture just pummeling its way right through that dry air pocket. So you can see that atmospheric river is just pushing into California, and it doesn't move. That's where you're going to get most of your rain, that's where you're going to get most of your snow, is where that atmospheric river is. It doesn't even matter that these low pressures are moving onto the coast, because this atmospheric river just does not move. Now, eventually, that will move onto the coast, this low pressure, and that will kind of eliminate that atmospheric river, break it up, and then it'll move into the Great Plains, and that's where the eastern half of the storm starts. But I will talk about that later this week. Now, here is some precipitation totals for this storm. You can see up to 8-9 inches locally in some spots. I think generally look out for 6-7 inches of snow. Definitely a large area of 4+ inches of rainfall, even broader area of 2+ inches, and basically the entire coast could see at least an inch of rain. Now, in terms of snowfall, we are going to be seeing plenty of it. Most of the area will see, up to 2 feet. But in California, where we have the atmospheric river, we can see up to, I saw 155 to 160 inches of snow. There it is, 155. That's insane. That is taller than 2 people stacked on top of each other. That is how much snow that areas of California will be receiving from this storm. Now, finally, I do want to talk about those winds, because we will be seeing a decent amount of wind from this storm system. So, let's talk about that a little bit. So, for blizzard conditions, we want to see these reds. This is about 36 knots. You can see that once you get into California, that on the coast you'll have those high wind warning areas. Those areas will be seeing at least 20 knots of wind for a sustained period of time, and in the mountains you could even see up to 20 to 30 knots of wind at a time. But you can see that along the coastline you could see even closer to 40 knots of wind. So this storm is powerful in California, maybe not as much in the northern states of the Pacific Northwest, but they will still get their fair share as well. So let's take it over to my predictions for this storm. So here are my predictions for the western part of Winter Storm Orlena. So I kind of took a general approach. At the bottom here you can see these predictions are general. Locally higher or lower amounts are possible. Of course, you could see 15 feet in some spots if some banding occurs or there is a little bit more moisture, but you could also see less than 2 feet in this area if there's more dry air, the storm is not as powerful in that section as it was supposed to be. General stuff that happens in the atmosphere. So let's take a look at this. My first section here for snow is dusting to 1 foot. This is a very broad area. Of course, in the lower elevations, you're going to be getting less snow, but in general, if you're in this section, there's a possibility that you see some flakes. In the purple section, I have 1 to 2 feet possible. So in these areas, you'll see it at least 6 inches, but you could see 1 to 2 feet. And in some areas, especially further south, that gets more possible. You get a higher confidence in that 1 to 2 feet. In the pink, you have 2 to 4 feet possible. Same rules apply. The further you are to the south, the higher that confidence is, because of the atmospheric river just pouring moisture into those areas. And in the brown, you get 4 feet plus, and I have in parentheses here up to 14 feet. That is that 155, 160 inches of snow in areas of the Sierra Nevadas. Now, for rain, I have this light green area, that's a half an inch or less. This dark green area is half an inch to 1 inches. Then you have this yellow area, this is 1 to 2 inches, and then you have this kind of orange yellow color, which is 2+ inches, and I've seen up to 7 inches. Again, locally higher amounts if there's a cold front that moves through, which we've been seeing in some of the more closer range models, and some banding sets up with some thunderstorm bands, lines of thunderstorms, etc. Then you could see 8-9 inches. So those are my predictions. Comment in the comment section down below. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you think that some areas should be adjusted, some areas shouldn't be adjusted? Leave that in the comment section down below. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.